Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Hi, I'm Angela. I talk a lot and I like anime. So anyway, before we talk about it, let me give a shout out to at TanyPumpun on Instagram for the cover art. I really appreciate your help. And at A_Jean with 2 A's at the end for the opening theme. Right. So I know, guys, it's been quite a while since I made a podcast episode, but I think I've decided what I'm gonna do for a schedule. But don't hold me to this because your girl's now in year 11. Insert sound effects. Woo woo. GCSEs at the end of this year. Ugh. But anyway, so I've decided, I think, that I'm gonna do about an episode a week, and then if I have why did I say it like that? An episode a month. It's not like anyone was getting excited for the episode a week thing anyway. But yeah, so I'll do an episode a month, and then if I get excited, or I'll try at least, and then if I get excited about, like, let's say this, this show or this movie that I just watched, then I'll do an episode about it. But yeah, I'm also gonna try and stick to movies because I know y'all don't really care, but like I've been watching quite like longer things recently. Like I'm watching JoJo's fans, woo. But that's quite long, and I feel like there's a lot of lore to JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So I'm not gonna like talk about it because I'm not like I know you don't have to be a scholar to talk about it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, there's a lot of stuff. So I'm going to focus on movies, maybe short series, and then maybe in some rare cases, like 2-3 season things like Maggie. I absolutely loved Maggie. That was such a good show. But anyway, So anyway, words bubble up like soda pop. Yeah, this movie, I forgot to mention, it's a movie. I actually absolutely love, like, right, a bit of backstory about me and this movie. The relationship we've had with each other is, I saw it on Pinterest before it was even out. Like, somebody was making, like, it was like a screenshot, I think, from the trailer. And then I was like, oh, I love this animation style. I wonder when it's going to, let me go find the anime. And then I went to find the anime or whatever it was. And it wasn't out yet. So then I just I just watched the trailer and I got really excited for it. Like about a month before maybe. And then I also, the song, the main theme, I fell in love with it and I like instantly put it on my playlist and I was like, this is in preparation for when the movie comes out. But yeah, words bubble up like soda pop, or in Japanese, Saida no yoni kotoga ga wakiagaru, is okay. It's just summer. Like, that's the best way to describe it. It's just a movie. It came out in summer on the if I get my research right, sorry if you can hear the 22nd of July, 2021. That's when it came out in the UK, and I think that's when it came out on Netflix, but it was in like theaters in Japan on that day, or the cinema, because British, woo. And let me tell you, when this movie came out on Netflix, I was like, okay, let's cut to the chase. I'm gonna watch it now. Like, I have to. Like, what else am I gonna do with my life? And not in the middle, actually, at the beginning of summer, because I can't remember when I ended for summer, but it was kind of late this year. So actually, that was right at the beginning of summer. But the director for this movie is Kyohei Ishiguro, and it is Flying Dog's 10th anniversary. You know what? I might come back and to you guys, it won't be come back, but like check stuff about Flying Dog because I forgot to. But the studio that animated this is Signal MD and Sublimation, and they haven't really animated any big things, so it's kind of nice to see smaller studios like just working on projects like this, because okay, we all love Mappa, and what they. I'm sorry, You're a Nice Franch, you're not going to get your movie, or no time soon at least. You'll need to step back. And I even saw on TikTok the other day the ballet anime they're doing, and obviously they did. They're doing Chainsaw Man, aren't they, as well? Like, Marvel has a lot of big things and big shows going for them. But and they're also doing Remain. Maybe I'll make an episode about Remain because I love Remain so much, and N-hyphen, but that's like, or whatever. Maybe I said that name wrong, but that's not the point. The point was, Mappa's great, but I feel like those employees are definitely overworked. Like, how fast are they coming? Oh, and they're doing the second half of Attack on Titan. But yeah, those employees work way too hard. I think it's time to give like smaller studios the chance to like step up and like animate like just as amazing things. Like something that's good doesn't have to be animated by Mappa and vice versa. I get the hype. I get the reason why everybody loves Mappa, but like I also like small studios like Stickle MD and Sublimation. But going into Where's Bubble Up like Soda Pop. I'll come back. I just cut my lip, so I bit into it and it bled. But like I'll be back in like a second. Right, I'm back. But for you guys, that's literally gonna be like literally no time because I would have cut it. But anyway, Flying Dog, just when I checked, is a Japanese record label formerly known as Victor Entertainment. They specialize in production and animation related video and music software. I guess that makes sense. Well, this movie was also made in like celebration, I guess, or commemoration or whatever. It was like their 10th anniversary project, right? And this film, it's 90 minutes long, in case any of you want to watch it. It's on Netflix, so I think that's pretty easily accessible. A lot of people have Netflix, but like maybe that's just me thinking, everyone has Netflix. But anyway, yeah. Maybe before I even talk about the show, let me do a bit about the genre. So it's a comedy, drama, romance, and in some things I've seen it labeled a slice of life, which makes sense. The VAs for Cherry, the main character, is Matsumoto Koshiro, and the VA for Smile, who's like the female lead, is Hanazuki Saki. And honestly, they did, I always say this because I watched it in sub as well, but I always say this, the voice actors are just good at their job. Is there like no other way to describe it? I really don't think there is, but they did a great job of conveying kind of the teenage awkwardness and excitement and childlike, because teenagers, as much as you don't want to admit, or we don't want to admit, we're still children. So they did a great job of conveying that. Like, I was really sat there just relating to the characters and the way that they talked and everything, right? But going back to the manga, this is a manga adaptation. I think I might have said this before. It only has 3 volumes, and there's no English translation for the manga. And I was like, I really like this. Maybe I should buy the manga, but there's no English translation. But maybe I'll buy it anyway. And the manga was first released on the 23rd of April 2020, and the movie, I can't remember when it was supposed to come out, but it was supposed to come out sooner than the 21st of July. So it was delayed because of the pandemic, as we know. It was distributed by Netflix, and the main theme, which I talked about before, which I absolutely love, is by Never Young Beach, and they just make some amazing, like, feel-good, good. So, like, they really captured, like, the feel of the entire movie in one song, and I don't know how you do that as, like, an artist. Like, it's just perplexing to me. Before I talk about the plot and I go through it, by the way, spoilers, obviously, for the movie. Well, maybe now, yeah, there will be spoilers. I was about to say maybe I should try and not make it spoilers if I want people to watch it, but yeah, there will be. What was I going to say? The characters are, like, unique. It's very, like I said, it's feel good, it's summer, it has a good romance. What else is on here? But that's most of the stuff about it. For the next thing, which will be in, like, a couple, like, not even a second. Why do I keep saying that? As if, like, I'm going to have, like, this is a YouTube video, I'm going to have, like, a cut that takes you to, like, the next thing. But I guess I'll go through the plot, the bits that I liked. There's not much that I didn't like, per se. Like, most of the things I talk about, I don't not like them, or else I wouldn't be talking about them. Like, is there any example? Like, will I ever talk about something I don't like? Maybe, but probably not, because that's just not how I roll. Or at least not in these podcasts. Maybe in real life, yeah, I complain about stuff I don't like all the time, but who doesn't? But yeah, I'm gonna go through the plot in. Why was I about to say I was gonna count that down? Anyway, yeah, onto the plot. Right, so the first thing in this film that we hear is the sound of cicadas. And cicadas are a motif of summer, especially in Japan, where it gets like incredibly hot. And that really throws the viewer right into this movie. Like the nostalgia or the relatability that they're instantly hit with pulls them straight into the film, which I think is very interesting. And also we start with a reading of a haiku. And haikus, if you don't know, are 575 like syllable like lines of like poetry, right? And they originated around the 17th century and would also originally would be about like seasons, which I think is also kind of like funny and nice, because like obviously this film, as I said earlier, is like it just is summer. So to choose like haikus as one of the like main elements of this movie, and then to have haikus originally be around seasons, is very interesting, and I like the link to it, right? At the beginning as well, we're also introduced to kind of like the theme of insecurity. Like we see that the two main characters, Cherry and Smile, are kind of like getting ready for their day, and Cherry has his headphones, which are the thing that we learn later is that he uses to block out like people's voice and kind of the sound around him, because he doesn't really want anyone to talk to him. So in turn, by putting on headphones, he's avoiding the volume of the outside world, while he also says that if he has headphones on, then people won't speak to him, so then he doesn't have to speak back to people if he has the headphones on. And then we have Smile's insecurity, her buck teeth, and I think it's interesting how her insecurity, it started good, if that makes sense. Like when she was little, the buck teeth were cute. It was like something that people adored her for, because she was like on social media, and that was just something that the people chose to really like about her. But then when she turns into a teenager, she kind of sees that that thing that was cute isn't cute in the sense that she wants it to be. Like it's not attractive, or that she doesn't deem it to be attractive, at least. Right? Smile is also a social media influencer, and I really like her personality. It's quite lively, it's quite out there, it's quite bold, you know what I mean? Like, it's quite big, and she has quite a lot of viewers, quite a lot of people watching her, which I feel like reflects within her personality. I also like the way that social media and phones are used in this like show. It's like reasonable, if that makes sense. Like a lot of the times I feel like in shows or anime, like it's almost as if, even if it's set like in current times, it's almost as if like phones don't exist. And maybe that's like a stylistic choice. Maybe the writer wants like the story to not revolve around phones, but I feel like a lot of problems in some shows could just be solved if somebody just called someone, if that made sense, right? But the way that this movie utilizes the phone, social media, and intertwines it with the story is beautiful to me, at least. And then after we hear the haiku, we're taken to the setting of the mall, which again, it's very normal, very summery thing. Like you get to see all the cars parked. And I'd also like to mention the color scheme of the film. It's incredibly bright. Like I am a person who likes bright colors, bright clothes. Although as obviously I got older, I can't just wear like pink and green. Like I need to match. So I've come to like black and white obviously more. But even if I am wearing black or white, I'll wear like black and then something yellow, or black and something like blue. Like I always like to have at least one thematic color with me. But back to the movie. Colors, I feel like, also emphasize summer. Like in summer, flowers are like blooming, everything at its peak, the grass is green, like it just echoes color. And in contrast to like a show like Steins Gate, the saturation on the colors are very dull, very dim, they're very like, but that also helps the story and echoes the show. So we have this peaceful setting, this very normal setting, and this is one of my favorite points that I make one of my favorite points, is that then we have Beaver. I love Beaver, he's so funny. I like the fact that he's a very messy character. He has issues with his spelling, which are perpetuated throughout the show. But Beaver turns the slowness of everyday life into an action-packed chase scene when he steals the cutout of the idol, the anime girl, I don't really know. And then he gets chased by the security guards, and his scene causes Smile and Cherry to slam into each other, like literally. It causes their lives to like violently collide. And once these two have knocked into each other, the first thing that Cherry says to Smile is braces. And since they're both quite insecure people, Smile takes this as like, oh, he's like calling my braces ugly, when Cherry's thing, as we learned earlier, is him, like, since he likes writing haikus, he's always like listening to the syllables of words and things. So when he says braces, he's trying to figure out like the amount of syllables in the word braces so that he can use it in a haiku later. And I kind of like this misunderstanding, because often misunderstandings are like elaborate, like they get, obviously we don't have the time in a movie for a misunderstanding to be dragged out over like a really long amount of time, but this misunderstanding is like, it starts something within her, because she already has that insecurity, and I feel like from that point on she kind of thinks that even if she doesn't like verbalize it, she might still think that he doesn't like her braces. So the haiku that he makes later for her really, I feel like, helps dispel, if that's the right word, any of the insecurities that she had, maybe about how he felt about her braces. And also, as they become friends, I feel like she also kind of forgets about it. But it's not a misunderstanding that like hinders the story, which is a lot of the time what happens in different shows. But sometimes a misunderstanding to hinder the story works in the plot, but just for me, it's not really my favorite like trope or thing that ever goes on. But alright, so Terry works at the care home in place of his mum, who has a bad back, which I think really tells something about his character, because he could have easily just been like, Mom, no, I don't want to go work your job, or whatever. Or he might have even been the person to offer to go and work her job, which really tells us that he's quite a caring and understanding and thoughtful person to begin with, even if he's like quite shy and doesn't really say much. But it shows in my form. So he works with old people then, and then there's the part when Smile realizes that she picked up the wrong phone after her and Cherry bumped into each other. So then there's the video call scene, and I made like a thing on the right side of my paper that like says my favorite scenes, and one of them is the video scene, because I love just how awkward they are, because again, it just screams teenage, like, at least for me, like, I don't know, I really liked that scene. It was really fun, very funny, especially the bit when like the guy who's kind of like an otaku, that I don't like using that word, but I have to, like, screams that like, oh my gosh, it's Smile, da da da, and then the sister just like cuts the phone off because he was just too intense. And that's kind of his character most of the movie. He's intense, but he does care enough to like be friends and with Cherry and stuff like that. Well, now I'm gonna move on to the scene where Cherry has to like read out his haiku to like the elderly people. And again, you get like little bits of Smile's insecurity, because when Smile's in the mall, she sees Cherry talking to the teacher woman, and they obviously think that something's going on between them. But she kind of looks at the teacher woman and then like almost like adjusts her mask, or like looks kind of back at herself, or looks down. And I think it's like, even at that point, she doesn't like Cherry, obviously, but it's kind of, she just sees somebody who's prettier than, or who she thinks is prettier than her or more attractive than her. So even if she doesn't like Cherry at this point in time. She's not necessarily jealous of her, specifically for Cherry. She's just kind of jealous of the fact that she's like prettier than her and that she has like perfect teeth and she doesn't, if that makes sense, right? But after this whole scene where like she watches him read out his haiku, I quoted this and I wrote it down because I think it's an iconic line, right? So Cherry says after he's written out his poem, after he's read out his poem, that's what read. Haikus are a written art form. It doesn't have to be read aloud. And I had to pause and write that down because I really think that in that 2 sentences, it really reflects what his character was at the start of the movie. Or even not at the start of the movie, even before this movie, because this movie is a changing period. It's something different, if that makes sense. And then the teacher responds back to him, basically, only some words can be conveyed when read aloud. And again, since I'd watched this before, this is my second run through, I knew that this was kind of a bit of foreshadowing to the end where he has to like say his haiku in front of Smile, like a lot of his haikus in front of Smile. But I really like those words because they really stuck with me, right? And then we have like a weird time progression where stuff is happening, and then we get pans of Cherry's haikus that are being graffitied by Beaver on, because I forgot to mention Beaver like just graffitiing all of Cherry's haikus all over the mall, all over like the apartment building, just like wherever he can do them. But he's not good at spelling because he's like half Italian and half Spanish. So his dad speaks Spanish and his mom's Japanese. So he's trying to learn. So he can speak Japanese fine, but he's trying to learn how to write. But he often spells things wrong, which is kind of again one of his like personality things that have been like done throughout the entire movie. I also forgot to mention between, like, it's not a time skip, it's like a montage, sorry, I used the wrong word, that, like, the first proper conversation that, like, Smile and Cherry have is when they're in, like, the fields, and, they're kind of just talking to each other, and then after they've kind of, like, they start talking about his haikus, and then about how he read it, and stuff like that, and when she calls his voice cute, and, I just love it so much because he's insecure about his voice and reading, and he just had to confront his insecurity like in front of all the old people and the teacher and even the Smile and her sisters, and just kind of her instantly saying to him that no, your voice is cute, I like it. I feel like instantly like puts his mind at bay, at ease, because he knows that somebody likes his voice at least. So that's one of my favorite scenes as well. Then we skip, we have the montage, and then we have the first time Fujiyama, the old person that kind of Cherry is like mainly looking after, is like quite vulnerable because he's talking about the record that we later find out is his wife's record that he's trying to find, and he doesn't want to forget, but he can't remember. I feel like that's really sad because we're all going to be old one day, and we're all going to forget things that we wanted to remember, and it just really, you can feel it really, how the emotion in that the voice actor put through, and that in the words that he even spoke, right? So begins the fated hunt for the record that Fujiyama has been trying to find. So, also, back to the headphones. The headphones, right? So they hunt for, let me try and think about the progression of this. So, she like asks her, Smile asks her followers about the like thingy and see if anybody has seen it, where the record album is, and then they go to where the record album like photo was taken, and then what's it called? And then they see in the museum where the record album photo was taken, an article about Fujiyama's wife and how she was a singer and she was 22 and stuff like that. They find out that the mall used to be like a record printing place, and then they found out that Fujiyama used to work there. Like, it's a whole really nice backstory, and not really treasure hunt, but you know what I mean? Like, because I just try and find back and forth. And then eventually they go back to Fujiyama Records, which is the shop that Fujiyama owns. And then they talk to the daughter of Fujiyama about it, and she talks about how that was her mom, and her mom used to be a singer, but she died when she was really little because after she gave birth to her, she got sick and died. And then she's talking about how her dad wants to like find the record and then Smile. I really like this, but she says something along the lines of like, I think he just wants to hear her voice one more time. And then they decide that they're going to look for the record within the record shop. And there's like hundreds, may I even say thousands of records in that shop. Like, so the commitment, the way that they just like, the compassion that these guys have. They latched on to an old person and were just like, we're going to help him remember or listen to his wife's voice at least one more time. So then they get their friends in on it, and they're like, okay, we're going to go look at every single record in this shop, right? And also in these couple scenes, let me go back. This is a little tiny tidbit, but when they were like when they were trying to find the article about the mom, like there was this really cute scene where like they're both looking through the glass of something, and then Smile moves a little bit closer to Cherry, and then Cherry like looks away and like blushes because Smile doesn't even notice that she got like really close to him and right? But anyway, back to finding the record. So it's really hot, it's summer, and they're trying to find this record, and Smile is still wearing her mask throughout this entire thing, right? And what was I gonna say? And it's really hot, and she's like trying to like take off the mask, and then Cherry's all like, you can take off the mask, and then she's like, no, it's really dusty. Like, she keeps making excuses, right? And she won't even eat in front of people. Like, she has trouble eating in front of people because if she eats, then they can see her teeth and stuff like that. Like, just really doubling down on this insecurity that she has, right? And even if it's not quote-unquote rational, like, I really like the way it's portrayed and the way it is, because sometimes things like this aren't, like, quote-unquote rational, but it's just how she feels, and there's nothing really that anyone can do to change that. Also, we thought, no, it did take her own, her own willpower and the help of, I feel like, Cherry to finally work through her insecurity, right? So then they managed to find the record. It was behind the fridge, but it was a bit wonky. So then Smile tries to... this is right after. Let me go back, right? So Smile is all like, Cherry, let's go see the fireworks together at the festival. The Daruma Festival that is like taking place, and like literally the day that he's moving. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he's moving in like 2 days or something, so he can't go to the festival and he can't stay with her, which is it's so sad. But anyway, so she's like, let's go to the festival together, and he's like, he doesn't know. He's been trying to tell her this like entire month that he's gonna move, but he hasn't had the courage to tell her. So then he just kind of agrees to go to the fireworks, even though he knows he can't go. And then later on, so then Smile gets really happy and like squealy, and I really like that because again, it just like that's, I don't know, everyone has gotten like excited about something that they just want to scream and squeal over it. But anyway, so Smile tries to like look at the record, and then she realizes that it's like bent a bit, so then she tries to like press it down to fix it, and then she ends up cracking it. So then Fujiyama can't listen to the record anymore. It's quite sad. And right? So then the atmosphere is awkward when, I forgot to mention, she decided that she would work with Cherry. So when she and Cherry are at work and they're practicing their Daruma folk dance for the festival, it's a bit awkward and stuff like that, alright? So then, what was I going to say? So then Cherry's mom walks in, and it's all like a leaving kind of thing, and he's ran out of time. He didn't get to tell her, so she just had to find out from everyone else. And I never really used to get this. I used to think, but they found out, so that's fine. But like, nobody ever wants to hear anything from somebody else. Like, you'd prefer for the person to have told you, wouldn't you? So I understand now more how she feels about that, because like it would have been awful. But anyway, so then they're walking home or whatever. Well, not home, but yeah. And then this scene, I feel like it's the first time that this scene and the ending scene is one of the first times that we see Cherry like actually vulnerable, because he cries after the conversation between him and Smile don't go really well. Like he like just cried, and it's like a really raw and emotional cry. Like, I felt that when he was crying, because he kind of caused this upon himself, and it was probably a mix of self-hatred and also like hating the situation that he was in. You know, I mean, even though he caused it. So even though he caused it. So I really not enjoyed, but like the emotionalness or emotionality of the scene was it felt like something. It was like, and I love anime. I don't know if I've said this before, or I love shows, or I love movies that make me feel something. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, I need to feel something. Whether it's connection, just something, anything. Or else what's the point? Even if it's bad, like some shows that are even bad, it's like if I have the energy to dislike it, then at least it's somewhat, I got something out of it. So now I have a standard for what I think is bad, you know what I mean? But shows that are just boring or just nothing happens, then I can't even like not like it that well, because all I can just be like is, oh, it was boring, you know what I mean? But anyway, so then after that it kind of goes bad because Cherry has to move, and like Smile is, oh yeah, I forgot. Smile also, like, later that night, she's trying to fix the record that she broke with glue and trying to stick it together, but every time she sticks a piece together, it would just fall off, and she keep going and fall off. And I feel like the emotions, again, that she had built up throughout the day and yesterday, because she broke the record the day before, just bubbled up. No pun intended. Bubbled up. And she just started crying. And I really like how her sisters support her in that, like, by hugging her, by listening to her, and then by the next morning making her a drink and, like, trying to cheer her up and stuff like that, by showing her the new yukata. And yukata's just, like, if you didn't know, it's, like, the not formalist, other way around. The, like, most casual way to wear a kimono, especially in the summertime, which, again, very summery. And there's a festival coming up, and if you guys know anime, you know that there's, like, a couple, like, scenes or arcs that will always comes up, especially in, like, romance. Like, you always have a beach scene, you always have a locker room scene, you always have a summer festival scene, because then you get fireworks. But anyway, back to this, so she's crying, and then she gets the yukata, and then she goes back to the, like, care home, or the place that she's looking after the people in, and then she takes, like, the record that she kind of fixed, but not really, back to Fujiyama, and shows him, and apologizes to him again, and then, the people know the clock, right? Throughout this entire movie, there's been, like, pans to the clock, because the clock is, like, looks like a record, right? And we find out that the clock is the record that, Fujiyama was looking for, right? So even though she broke the record, they can still listen to it. And then she asks for a favor, and basically they decide to dance to the song of Fujiyama's wife, instead of the Daruma folklore dance. Well, they still do the dance, but they don't use the music, right? And then Smile decides to stream it so that Cherry can see it. So when Cherry's on his way out of town and that, he tunes into Smile's streams, because I forgot to talk about this scene. Basically, when they first followed each other is one of my favorite scenes as well. Like, because it just, I don't know, there's a lot of emotion for like, that's why I also said I like the way they integrate phones into the story. Because there's a lot of emotion in just liking and following people, as you know. I feel like if you're like a teenager, or if you're just, I don't know, just someone who uses phones a lot. But yeah, that, like, the way that they reacted to some of the follows and, like, the multiple likes and just felt like, it just felt very real to me. It felt like something I would do, or something, or somehow I would react to that. And also, after that point, they keep liking each other's posts, and he keeps watching her streams. So it's like they've developed this, like, nice little internet kind of thing going on. But anyway, so he's watching her stream in the car, and so then there's this whole scene where Beaver, what's it called? graffitis the one of his haikus onto different signs onto the highway, and the one he like graffitis is the one that's like it's like it's basically I like the leaves that you've hidden, which is referring to the braces that she's hidden underneath the mask, right? So then we have a K-drama male lead moment, basically. So he's like, Dad, stop the car. So then he stops the car and he gets out and he starts running. And I'm literally screaming when I'm watching this for the second time. I'm like, oh my Lord, go get it. Go get your girl. Oh my gosh, K-drama main lead style, right? Because if you watch K-dramas, you know that as soon as the K-drama male lead his anything, like if the girl's in trouble, if the da-da-da's happening, they'll sprint across the entire of Seoul just to get to the girl. Anyway, and I really enjoy that. Like, even though it's a bit of a cliche, it's a fun cliche. Like, there's nothing wrong with just a guy running across the entire city and dropping everything. It's always so dramatic. Like, they always, like, I don't know, if they're holding the phone, they might like throw it on the ground or drop it and just run. You know what I mean? It's always funny. Like, it's always funny. But anyway, so Cherry runs to the festival and he's looking everywhere. It's very busy. He's trying to find Smile or anything. And then he gets to the tower where they were performing their thing, and this is a very big point for Cherry because he climbs up to the top of the tower when all eyes are on him, just to basically to more or less tell Smile how she feels. And when I was writing this, I wrote that, you know, if you've seen Bunny Girl Senpai, or I'm not saying the full title actually, but if you've seen Bunny Girl Senpai, you know that one scene where like I don't even remember his name because I don't like Bunny Girl Senpai. I'm probably gonna get hate for that, but anyway. When he like goes out into like the schoolyard or whatever, the main character, and he's like my son, skida, right? It gives me that kind of energy, but less embarrassing. Like, I could go on a full rant about how I dislike that scene from Bunny. I don't like Bunny Girl Senpai in total, but that one scene is just embarrassing. Like, you don't want somebody screaming, especially at school. I would hate that. And I'm an outgoing person. I'm an extrovert. But, like, I would still dislike all the attention on me at that one moment because that's embarrassing. But anyway, so he goes to the top of the tower and he starts reciting his haikus. And like I said earlier, it links to how the teacher told him that some things can only be conveyed by, like, saying them, if that makes sense, right? So in the case of him, he's finally realized that. So he decides to pretty much scream or shout his haikus into the audience without really knowing where Smile is at this point. But eventually he sees her and stuff like that, right? And, what did I write? He's pouring his heart out at the ending scene, and it feels good, if that makes sense, right? So then, he's saying all his haikus, and then he gets to the one about the braces and about the leaves that you've hidden away, and then it gets to, like, I like your cute voice, I like your cute smile, I like your cute da-da-da, right? And then it gets to, like, I like you, and then I like you smile, or whatever, so it's like, Kimiga Suki, and he, like, screams that, and da-da-da. And okay, maybe I don't think I'd be embarrassed because this links, like, this is why I said it's better than Bunny Girl Senpai, because it links to stuff that they've actually gone through, if that makes sense, like the whole haiku bit, the whole, like, bits of conversation that they had that he's worked into his haikus throughout this entire movie, bits of, like, feelings he's felt through this entire movie that he turned into haikus, like, earlier on. And then we get the fireworks, Hanabi. We get them. And then I forgot to mention, everybody turns away to watch the fireworks. And then that's the bit when he's like, I like you, smile, like, screaming. So it's kind of like it's just them. It's like there's so many people there. But in that one moment, it's like it's just Smile and Cherry just talking to each other, like, right next to each other. Like, even though they're, like, a good, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 meters apart because he's, like, on top of this tower thing and has a microphone. But he took a really big leap, and I really appreciate. And also at that moment when he says I like you, she takes off her mask, which I think shows how that they helped each other, like, through their insecurities. Like, he also had a relapse I forgot to mention earlier on with his headphones. Like, he took his headphones off when he was becoming friends with Smile, but then he put them back on when Smile found out that he was moving away, and I feel like it's reflective of like growth. Like, you don't just like instantly get better at something. Sometimes you go back, sometimes you don't do something, sometimes that happened. Like, it wasn't just like, growth isn't linear, if that makes sense, and I really like how it shows that. But then, so Kimi ga Suki, and then she takes off the mask, and then the main theme plays. That's what I wrote, because I love the main theme. Words of Love, like Soda Pop, it just plays, and I'm just like, ah. And right, when I first watched this, I decided to watch, I don't watch credits, but I was like, let me see if there's anything right at the end that I'm missing, right? So I watched the entire of the credits, and right at the end, there's like, there's the shadow of them kissing on the rooftop, while the fireworks are still going on, like after this whole thing. And it echoes Fujiyama and his wife, because their love story kind of started like that. Like, she was, she was insecure about her teeth the same way Smile was, and Fujiyama helped her overcome that in a way. And they also kissed in like front of the fireworks on the rooftop at the Daruma festival. Also, and it's just really sweet. So I really enjoyed the parallels between the young and the old, and I'm glad I watched to the end just to find out that thing. But Guruma, yeah, I did a little bit of research, like I always do, and Guruma. No, I said that wrong because I'm looking at something else. But anyway, those like doll things, again, 17th century. And they originated from the Gunma prefecture. Nowadays, but before they were like used as like charms to be blessed by the monks. And there's like this whole thing at the end of the year, like right after New Year's Day, where they have like a big burning session of them all. But nowadays, they're more of like a souvenir, or they can be purchased for like to help somebody achieve their goals and things like that. And I don't know, they're also like a big motif throughout the entire show. So maybe this story is a story of perseverance. Kind of like, what's it called? Kind of like a silent voice. Like how, the koi fish with the motif, and those also symbolize like perseverance and stuff like that. So I kind of like the themes throughout this movie. Well, I mean, before I wrap up, what are my plans for the future? Well, I generally, if you guys didn't know, I just kind of like talking about things that I like. So it's just kind of why I wanted to have this podcast in the first place. But then stuff like I said earlier, I'm watching JoJo's, I'm watching the final season of Fruits Basket, and then I'm going to start watching My Hero Season 5 because I was waiting for all the episodes to be out before I started watching it. And I don't know, what else? I watched a lot of movies. I also watched this movie called Colorful, which I've really liked. I might talk about that because, the themes in it. Unparalleled, unrivaled. Yeah, that's the word. But yeah. And most of my suggestions, by the way, I'm not even gonna lie, like, it's kind of like my music taste. I get from TikTok, I get from Pinterest, I get from my friends, like, and there's no shame in it. A lot of people these days, like, try and be, like, edgy and different and cool or whatever, and not like other people, but it doesn't matter. Like, I found such good, so, like, my favorites, like, Toilet Bound, Hankoken, like, Dororo, like, Violet Evergarden, I actually found on my own, but I was looking, no, actually that's a lie. No, because I was looking at Netflix and I was like, what anime should I watch on Netflix? So I decided to watch that. Like, but that's not the point. Some of my favourites, like I just mentioned, and yeah, I didn't mention any big shonen. What about it? What are you gonna do? Fight me? No, you won't find me. You won't fight me. You don't even know where I live. But that's not the point. But yeah, a lot of my favorites have come from TikTok or friend recommendations. So my thing is, don't be afraid to like watch a show off TikTok, an anime or a show off TikTok, or even buy a book, because I'm on BookTok if you didn't know, and I bought a book off BookTok and it was good and I like it. But yeah, so that's kind of like my little wrap up. I'll try and make these episodes monthly, like I said, and I'll try and make them good. I'm trying to figure out how to make the quality better, because I wanna make good quality things. I don't want to just like rush together and put something together in like a sitting or one day. But it is like a nice way to spend my my weekends, because then I get to rewatch shows that I really enjoyed. I get to talk, and I love talking, and I get to analyze, and I really like finding new things to learn about, like the show that I didn't realize the first time that I watched it. So I appreciate you guys, whoever decides to listen to my podcast, because it means that people care enough, and my work is being, even if not valued in the way that's like typical, I'm validated by people just listening to me, because like I said, I love to talk. So even if it's in the sense of a podcast or just in a normal conversation, I like being listened to, and I should try and listen to others too. Oh, is this my package? I didn't even realize. And nobody told me it got here. Wow, some family you guys are. But yeah, I'm going to open my package now. I'm excited. Skip to the outro, because I already recorded the outro. Well, so I mean, thank you for listening to like my ramblings about this movie. It's just, it kind of, in the progression of like the way that from seeing it to waiting for it to watching it to loving it, it kind of reminds me of Skate the Infinity. And obviously there's a big Skate fandom, so I don't really need to talk about that. But like I had a similar experience with Skate the Infinity. Except for with Skate, I saw it like months ago on TikTok about there being like a skate anime, and then it was before I even watched anime, to be fair, and I was like, oh, this seems cool, maybe I'll start watching anime, because I was also getting into skateboarding at the time. I am not good at skateboarding, so don't be like, oh no, what tricks can you do? Don't ask me, I can't do any. Well, no, that's a bit of a lie, but like that's not the point. So in the way that I like skate, is the same way that I like World's Worth Soda Pop, with a hint of summery vibes. Well, this has been So Anyway, so thanks for listening. So anyway, see you next time.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.